Okay, so I was listening to a video of Gurudev, and I think it's cut. It's cut, and it just comes in, and it seems like the person asked about something I've heard before that said Srila Prabhupada said about the moon landing. Oh, they did not land on the moon, and so there's this whole conspiracy, of course, that they didn't land on the moon and stuff like that. And then Gurudev kind of explains that the moon Prabhupada's talking about and the moon that's there are two different things. And so you also get this with flat earth theory. Like Sukadev Goswami, it's shaped like a lotus. And so people are like, well, it's flat then. So I'm just wondering, like, because Gurudev didn't explain so in depth that conception of like what we're perceiving and what they are perceiving, or what they're perceiving.
I'm not clear on exactly which point you're
well they're I mean, like Sukadev Goswami, I mean, apparently describes the earth as a shape of a lotus, and so devotees will say, well, then the earth is flat, but we see the earth as a sphere. And Srila Prabhupada says that no, and if you do believe the moon landing, that, we did not land on the moon, he says. But, Gurudev is saying, well, Srila Prabhupada's conception of the moon and our conception of the moon are two different things. He was kind of saying one is like a mental conception and one is our physical conception.
So are you talking about conspiracy theories in general, or are you talking about the flat earth, round earth issue?
No, I'm just that difference between what we physically conceive of the universe, or what we see around us, and like the conceptions that are somewhat different given in the Vedas and the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 5th canto. I think Srila Prabhupada even said, like, when this comes out, many devotees might lose their faith because it gives a very different description of the cosmos than we're used to, we're used to. So I'm wondering what's that difference between like their conception, what they're perceiving, and then what we're seeing.
Yeah.
How they're describing that type of universe and the universe that we're seeing.
I mean, I don't feel like I can say a few things like what are my thoughts on this, but I don't feel I'm qualified to give a complete answer to that question. I've actually never even read through Srimad Bhagavatam. So I can't say, I'm not familiar with exactly, those descriptions are. But it is something I have considered before, that whatever we read in scripture, we have to take it as being accurate, but it may not be according to what our understanding is. The proper interpretation of what is being said, it may not be exactly according to what our idea is. I mean, as Gurudev said there. So that's what is being, one needs the proper understanding to be able to fully understand what is being said. That is one point. Another point, and this is something Gurudev hinted at once, that Kumkum Didi told me, is that Srimad Bhagavatam, maybe there are some scriptures which are more specifically dealing with astronomy, etc. There probably are. But Srimad Bhagavatam, it is primarily a devotional text. So that's the emphasis. And I mean, I don't want to elaborate on this too much, but I'll say what Gurudev said. Kumkum, I think it was Kumkum herself who asked, or at least she was present. Gurudev was asked some question about some discrepancies and in some, I don't remember exactly what the discrepancies were. There may have been some differing descriptions in the Bhagavatam, and it was regarding something about the nature of the cosmos. And so something about some discrepancies of the descriptions there about the nature of the cosmos, something like that, in that area and that topic. And Gurudev said, Shukadev Goswami was not out in the universe with one yardstick, like he wasn't like trying to give like this exact perfect mathematical description, of all the planets, or whatever. That's not the main point of Srimad Bhagavatam. So therefore, there may be some things which are not exactly 100% accurate in a technical sense. That I don't feel qualified to comment on that or elaborate on that point, but I'm just presenting that before you. That's one comment that Gurudev made. And then another point that we have to remember is that Krishna is the hypnotist, right? And he can show different things to different persons, Vrindavan Thakur is saying that Advaita Charja is Sada Shiva. Kaviraj Goswami is saying Advaita Charja is Mahavishnu. Some people say that Vaishnavas say that Mahaprabhu left the world by entering into the ocean. Other people say he left the world by merging into the Gopinath deity. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj harmonized all. Saraswati Thakur particularly said that he accepted that Mahaprabhu merged with the Gopinath deity. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj also said that actually all of these things are possible because Krishna is the hypnotist. And he can show what he wants, to whom he likes. He is the master hypnotist, so he can reveal different things to different people. Well, there was another thing on the end of my tongue about that. Oh, yeah, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he mentioned in this regard about the Govardhan Leela, when Krishna lifts the Govardhan hill, with the pinky of his left finger, and then there's this very wonderful discussion Srila Sridhar Maharaj gives about how I can't properly represent it. It's brilliant, but he went on to say how all the laws of physics, Krishna can change all of that in a second. And so the laws of gravity, he can change all of that. He has all power, he has all capacity. So, scientists, mathematicians, astronomers, for lifetimes, they can spend lifetimes going to analyze like one particular rule. And then Krishna can just change everything on the snap of a finger. So that's another point, that he's the hypnotist. He could, that one thing, he's the hypnotist, and he can show whatever reality he wants to anyone. Multiple people can have different experiences of the same thing, and they can all be valid. And then the other point is that he can make the rules and break the rules and change the rules anytime he likes. So ultimately everything, all possibility is there. And then finally, I mean, what's the bottom line for me on all of these issues is that it doesn't, well, I mean, you said it yourself when you were starting out, it doesn't really make any difference, whatever the case is, whether they went to the moon or they didn't go to the moon, or whether the earth is round, or whether the earth is flat, it doesn't make any difference for where we are here and now and what is necessary for us. So yeah, I mean, I'm not able to give a thorough answer to that question, but these are just some relevant considerations, and they're also how, what my thoughts are on these subject matters. And I know it's not the case with you, but just as a side point, I do feel concerned sometimes, because I see some of our friends, they get very obsessed with with these conspiracy things. I guess it's just everybody likes a mystery. And so whenever there's something where there's a mystery surrounding it, then it can capture, your attention. And so we see how some of our friends, they can become overly concerned about all of these things. But we don't need to put our heads in the sand, and some issues are relevant to our daily lives. But ultimately we are striving for jnana shunya bhakti. We are, our goal is a relationship of love and with the Lord and his devotees. So much detailed knowledge about everything that's going on and the way that everything is, it is not necessary, and ultimately it is a distraction. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say on that.
I think Jayadev may want to add something.
Okay.
Hand raised. I can also say that I understand why devotees like conspiracy theories, because Krishna consciousness is a bit of a conspiracy theory. You are not this body. This is all illusion.
Right.
There's a secret. We know it.
Right.
The rest of the world doesn't.
Yeah, I have one thing I can offer on that concept, because I've thought of it and contemplated it. And you could say this is my own speculation, but I can't think of anywhere I've heard this directly. But the way I've harmonized it is, even modern science or physics, it acknowledges it's that the world we see is filtered through our five senses, right? It's specifically the mind and everything we see. So that moon that modern science and that we perceive through our limited vision, that's a filtered moon. That's only part of what the reality of the moon is. And the sadhus live in a world where everything is living, and it's like a wider vision. They see these things. So Bhumandala is a dimension of reality. It's not the thing we call Earth. Like, from our limited material vision, Earth is a rock, that used to be a ball of gas, and it's got water and all these things like it. But when the Shastras are talking about Bhuloka, they're talking about a dimension of reality, which in one sense might be flat relative to these more expanded dimensions. So the way I've perceived it is it's a dimensional thing. All of these, and so because the Shastra is a revelation, it means something that's it's revealed from the absolute in the mind of the entity who's bringing the Shastra to us, right? So they're seeing more of reality than we are. I know I'm being a little redundant, but that's kind of how I've harmonized that. Reductionist, like, we're reducing the moon to a rock, but the moon that Srila Prabhupada sees is way deeper than just some rock floating in space with nothing on it. There are literally entities that live on that moon, but they live in another dimension than our senses allow us to see. So same with the sun, same with even in our own planet, right next to us, there are so many beings that are fully inhabiting, fully present, may or may not know we're here, and they're just on another dimension. Who knows how many people are attending this Zoom meeting right now that we can't see or talk to. Anyways, that's my little attempt at a harmonization there. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Jayadev. That was really, really nicely articulated. Wonderful. We have a request here from Varun. Can you please describe in what spirit we chant the Maha Mantra? I read Srila Maharaj mention that chanting with service to Krishna is most important, but I am unsure what the pure essence of this means. Well, there's the idea there of chanting with the mood of service. It means that we are chanting not with the idea that mantra is going to help us in this world, in some achievement in this worldly plane, but that we want to offer ourselves to be used, not that by that higher plane, not that not that we are subjects, and that mantra, Maha Mantra is an object to us, but that rather that mantra is super subjective to us. There's one famous verse, Atashi Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Grajaminjiyai Sevan Mukehi Jivadao Swayam Eva Sportyadao by Srila Rupa Goswami, one of our great gurus. And there he's describing how everything in connection with Krishna, it is divine, and it is beyond the jurisdiction of our senses. Our minds, our and our senses, our sight, taste, touch, etc. They are not eligible to approach anything of divinity. So with these eyes, we cannot see divinity. We cannot see Krishna. With these tongues, we cannot vibrate the name of Krishna. Everything about Krishna is fully Krishna. So the sound of Krishna's name, it is non-different from Krishna himself. So, even just, like practically thinking, we have to consider how could it be so easy if the name, Binat Swan Nama Nami, the name and the names, they are one and the same. So if that's true, then how can it actually be possible for us to vibrate that name? If it's really Krishna himself, then it couldn't be so easy. So this is what is being stated in this verse, that our material faculties are unable to touch upon anything connected with Krishna. Then the verse continues, Sevan mukehi jivadao swayamevas. However, if we approach those things, if we approach the name, the nama, rupa, guna, lila, name, form, qualities, pastimes of Krishna, if we approach them with the mood of seva, the mood of service, with the mood of which in essence means self-giving, we are giving ourselves to that. Not that we want to drag that higher substance down into this plane, but we want to offer ourselves to be used by that higher plane. Then sevan mukehi jivada swayam eva. Then if we are chanting the name of Krishna, approaching Krishna with that spirit, then the name he may reveal himself to us within the plane of the senses. There's another famous song of Bhakti Thakur. How does it go? Hridaya hoite bole. Hridaya hoite bole, jiva grete chole, shabda rupe nache anukan. It is describing the process of how the name will truly be chanted. And this is a song by Bhakti Thakur, one of our gurus. And he's saying how the name will enter the ear. First, the name has to be received from a Vaishnava. The name must come from a Vaishnava. The goodwill of a Vaishnava must be behind that name. So first, that name will enter our ears, coming from another Vaishnava. Then the name will live within the plane of our heart, our consciousness, and may be there in a dormant state, in a sleeping state for some time, like a seed. But then when the environment is favorable, in other words, when our consciousness is purified and open, then that name will feel, as Gurudev said it very nicely once, now it is my dancing stage. And then Shabda Rupe Nache Anukan. Then that holy name will dance upon our tongues. So actually, like in the proper development of things and the proper expression of the name, it is not that It is not that we are chanting, but we are being chanted. It is more like that. Not that we are the subjects making this happen, but it is something coming down through us and acting upon us. And that is only possible through the spirit of Sharanagati, surrender, self-giving. And other thoughts in connection with this are, the calling spirit, to take the name with the mood of calling upon the Lord to descend, to reveal himself to us. One of our gurus, Bhakti Thakur, who I mentioned, there's one famous story of there was one young devotee who lived, this is like in the early 1900s. There was one young devotee who lived next door to him. Before he came to join Krishna consciousness, the Gaudiya Math, as a boy, he lived next door to Bhakti Thakur, who's one of the great gurus in our lineage. And he, didn't really know who he was at the time. But later on, he came to understand the significance of what he had witnessed. And what he had seen as a boy is that Bhakti Thakur, he would often go out and chant in the very early morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and he would pace back and forth, chanting on a mala, a round of chanting beads, and he would pace back and forth, chanting, and sometimes sitting down on a bench and taking rest. But what was very striking to him is that the way that he was chanting, it was like he was seeing someone in the distance and he was calling out to them, as if he was seeing a person there, a friend, and calling them with that type of very intense spirit. He was calling. I think we mentioned this recently, but Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he made that comment that we should chant like a baby crying for its mother, with that type of spirit. And another point which our Gurudev Srila Govinda Maharaj always emphasized is that, we it's not just, being able to chant properly. It's not about like just that moment when you go to chant, but it's and this is really very central in the practice of pure devotion. Our whole life has to be about cultivating the proper mood in which to be able to chant that name or receive that name. So it's one way you could think of it is well, I don't want to say it like that, but you understand what I'm saying. Our whole lifestyle has to be geared towards this. Not like we're going to church on Sunday and the rest of the week we do whatever we want. That's what I'm trying to say. But our whole life, our whole consciousness has to be geared towards this. So like in a complete way, we have to culture in our daily lives the proper consciousness, which will be able to truly approach the true name. And then in this regard, what our Gurudev would especially emphasize is a verse of Sri Chaitanya Dev, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which all of our devotees know because our Gurudev said it so many times. Chinada pisuni chena choriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada hari. That the name must always be chanted with humility, tolerance, and respect. Offering amanina manadena means giving respect to others without expecting it for ourselves. So we can say 3 or we can say 4 points are mentioned here. You know, humbler than a blade of grass, tolerant as a tree, and giving all respect to others without expecting it for ourselves. You know, these in particular, you know, kirtaniya sadahadi. Such a person, they can always take the name. They can always do kirtan. So, you know, I mean, you could say 90% of what we're doing, it's about making ourselves receivers, you know, make one way our Gurudev said it is you know, make our hearts fertile. You know, you have the seed, but you cannot throw seed on barren lands. You have to have the proper soil in order for that to grow. So, you know, we've already received the treasure, but we have to make the environment suitable for it to manifest, to grow, to reveal itself. So, you know, to make our earth, the earth of our hearts fertile, to make ourselves proper receivers, you know, this is very central to our daily practice. Another example our Gurudev gave was of you know, electricity and wiring. You know, electricity is a powerful current which can do many things, but if our wires aren't properly connected, aren't properly set up, then we can't, you know, we won't experience that power. So if we have all of our, you know, wires arranged properly, then we can connect to a source of electricity and we can experience its power. You know? Or also our Gurudev gave the example of a radio. You know, if the radio is properly, you know, set up and properly tuned in, you know, then we can receive transmissions from above. So this point is so central to Krishna consciousness, making ourselves receptors, you know? and that has to be something not just that we do once a week or once a month or whatever, but it has to be something that you know, is constantly playing upon our minds. If you know, something that we're constantly striving for, and everything that we're doing has to be geared towards that. So yeah, I mean, I guess those are the essential points I would mention. That, you know, we are calling upon the name we are calling upon the name with a mood of self-giving, self-surrender. Does that help? Was that clear?
Yeah, yeah, that's clear. Thank you. Yeah, it's like I get caught sometimes with you know, just hearing the vibration or the words, and so, you know, it's good to know to be more passive and not only focus on the sound.
Yeah, we can pray to that name before you begin chanting. You know, you can pray to that name, and, you know, please reveal yourself, you know, and as you're chanting, you know, you can chant with that mood, like it's a name and he's a person and you're calling to that person, like that. No, you know, on one occasion when Gurudev was asked that, what should we think about? Gurudev said, it's not necessary to think about anything, you know, but to think like this, you know, that you are calling upon the name, you know, please descend, you know, please please reveal yourself to me. It is not just, this is what sets Krishna consciousness, the culture of pure devotion, apart from many other Vedic lineages, we could say, because the essence here is trying to develop a relationship of love. So it's not that this mantra is something that is supposed to elevate us. We're not thinking like that. That is something that will naturally happen. No, it's not that we're thinking, oh, I'm using this mantra to help me to get something of this world, or to help me become free of this world, or to get rid of my stress or whatever, actually to take the Maha Mantra in any type of mood, that is also good, and any approach is a good approach. So we don't want to dismiss persons who are chanting with other intentions. Any type of approach is good, and it's a starting point. But in terms of what is our ideal and what our gurus are really trying to give us, it is purely concerning love. So yes, I'm not taking this to help me become this or that, or get this and that or whatever. But I want to have your connection. I want to be your own. I want to be accepted by you. I want to serve you. I want to love you. All of these things, these are in the line of pure devotion.
Didi.
Yes, Prabhu.
Can I mention one thing? Because
yes, please.
Varun was mentioning something, and then it made me think of one question that was proposed to Sridhar Maharaj in Sermons of the Guardian, Volume 3. And he asked about the pronunciation of the holy name, how it should be done. And then Sridhar Maharaj gives a beautiful description of the holy name, the mood we should have to chant the holy name, and doesn't really touch on the pronunciation at all. Just mostly on the mood, our feelings about it, what the name means. And then at the end of it, the person asks again, so is it Ram or Rama? And Sridhar Maharaj, it's Rama. But just, Sridhar Maharaj's conception was just beyond the actual pronunciation and sound, but what we're inviting and everything that you mentioned.
I came across another place where Sridhar Maharaj was asked that, and he said the correct pronunciation is Rama. However, that is not the main point. And even if you mispronounce, then it's not a problem. And he gave the example of Mother Jashoda, when she's calling Krishna, she may sometimes mispronounce his name, but he will understand that she's calling him, right? And this is one of the things I appreciate so much about Vaishnavism. It is so practical, it is so simple like that, just like in our daily lives. If we're calling a friend, then we might get it slightly wrong sometimes, but they'll understand, they get our heart. Or even, if you have a friend who's of a different nationality, you may not even be able to pronounce their, some persons I know, I can't even pronounce their names properly, but they understand I'm calling them, and that's the main point, So getting the exact pronunciation, that is not the point here. There's another line of Jagadananda Pandit, which I can't remember right now, but saying that the name does not exist in its syllables. You know, it's not just like 2 syllables that we're chanting Krishna, but it is a divine sound vibration descending from above. You know, so if you're connecting with that divine vibration, you know, that's the important thing. You know, if something is a little wrong in your pronunciation of the syllables, then it is not important. There's just kind of in this topic, I might have mentioned this recently, I can't remember, but and also kind of touching on that point, Prabhu, Chinmoy Prabhu, how, so I mean, I guess I could also say, like, it's easy for me to feel superior, like listening to the tape 20 years later, but at the time I could have been that person, you know. But you hear many times, and we're for those who aren't familiar, we're referring to these recordings from the early 80s of many Westerners, mostly Americans. They came to visit Srila Sridhar Maharaj, who was our grandfather guru. He's the founder of our mission. And he was he was a great saint, but he was also a great scholar, great philosopher, scholar. And he gave, I mean, his explanations are just unparalleled. They are extraordinary. But one of the things, and you know, when you listen to these tapes, you know, it's incredible how patient he is, you know, and when you hear him answering questions, as Chinmoy said, it's sometimes painful to hear how he's giving some of the extraordinary explanations and touching like on very high and subtle points, and then the person there, you know, asking the question, they're like going like down here and, you know, not really picking up on like these fine points and going down to like very basic things. And it's painful because you see like he's giving something so refined and so sophisticated, and like who's there able to really understand it. But anyway, another in regards to that point, and also in regards to chanting the name, there was someone asking him about if chanting 16 rounds every day would be enough for somebody to go back to Godhead, for somebody to go to the spiritual world. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he was, you know, essentially he was trying to make the point, it's quality, not quantity. And trying to explain this in different ways, but this poor soul just couldn't get it. And they were, you know, the conversation was kind of going in circles. And then finally, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj is just so patient. I mean, it's just incredible how patient he was. But anyway, then finally he made this strong point, which I think kind of, you know, ended the discussion. But he said that do you think that the gopis in Vrindavan, no, the gopis, they are the girlfriends of Krishna, and they are the highest devotees of Krishna. And so he said, do you think that the gopis in Vrindavan, they are sitting and counting on beads all day? You know? And then he said, one name of Krishna is enough to send them mad. You know? One name of Krishna, just to hear the name of Krishna will make them mad. You know?
Yeah, I think I read this In Search of Sri Krishna. I think this exchange was in there as well. Yeah, I was just thinking to you've read that book. I was just thinking to recommend that, because there's another place there where Srila Sridhar Maharaj, kind of along these lines, he was saying how the name has his own, you know, that it's not just about like sitting and counting on beads or chanting this number of times, but we have to think of the name in a living way. You know, if the name is non-different from Krishna, then Krishna is a person. Krishna has his own will and his own desire. So if we are trying to
we're approaching the name in this kind of like holistic way, that it's not just about like having a quota of names that we chant every day, but we're building a relationship. Krishna is a person. And so of primary importance is considering what are his desires, which are coming through his devotees, being revealed through his devotees, and trying to fulfill those desires. And he gave one example of one, I think it was an acharya, a guru of another mission. And he told Srila Sridhar Maharaj once, I don't have time for chanting. I'm very busy with preaching. I don't have time to sit and to chant. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, I supported him, because we have to think of the name in a living way, So to fulfill the will of the name, to fulfill the desire of the name, to fulfill the desire of Krishna, that is the essential thing. So, of course, if we don't have such pressing, service activity, then it will be more important that we follow, in some regulated way, chanting a set number of rounds, etc., etc. But that's not the be all and end all. And if there's more pressing service necessity, then we'll set aside, all of these, specified things. Let's see, we have
Thank you.
oh, thank you.
Thank you, Vishakha Didi.
Ramananda Prabhu, Dandavad, very nice to have
Dandavad.
you today. And Dayani is also here. She's saying she has to leave. Thank you for joining us again this week, Dayani.
Thank you, Jai Gurudev. Thank you very much. See you next Monday. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
And is that Giridhari? Or is that our friend in Ireland? I'm not sure. Galaxy user. But happy
Pat
to have
you there. Pat is
Is
there.
that it's Pat? Yes, I see. It's Pat. Great to have you with us again, Pat. Hello.
Thank you.
And we also have Parvati with us. Hello, Parvati. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Pranam. So happy to be here again.
Whereabouts are you now, Parvati?
I'm just back home. So after going across the States in a road trip, I finally landed to Montreal.
Oh, so you're in Canada now?
I'm in Canada now. Yeah.
Okay. You're originally from Canada.
Yeah, I'm from Montreal.
Okay.
So I left the ashram and
okay,
here
cool.
I am. Yeah, back home.
We have some friends in Vancouver, but that's probably far away.
That's quite a long way. That's quite a long way from home. Yes.
Well, great to have you with us, Parvati.
Thank you. Great to be here.
We have also Jadu Gopal. Jadu Gopal, is that in Limerick?
Dandavad, Vishakha Didi. Yes.
Dandavad. I don't think, is this the first time you're joining us?
Second time.
Second time. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, that's really exciting. Very nice
Good.
to have you with us.
Very nice to hear you. Great questions and great answers. Very nice. Thank you so much. Much appreciation.
Oh, hope you're well, Prabhu.
Yeah, keeping well. And you, how are you keeping well?
Yeah. I'm being taken care of by the devotees in Hungary.
Hungry. Okay.
So yeah, I feel very protected and cared for here.
Hare Krishna.
So yeah, we're well.
Great.
And we have Rukmini. Rukmini, what is your status?
Vishakha.
Dandavad. What is your status? Have you brought a new soul into the world?
Not yet.
Really? Wow. So you've been this whole week you've been on edge, huh?
Yes.
Gosh, my goodness.
Thinking every day that is going to be the day, but Nope.
Okay, okay. Gosh, my goodness. What an ordeal to go through. Well, we're all thinking of you.
Thank you, dear Vishakha Didi.
Suvasini Didi also, Dandavat, also in
Dandavat,
Ireland,
Didi.
in Wexford. And Ajay Krishna, which Ajay, we have several Ajay Krishnas. Which Ajay Krishnas is with us?
This one, Dandavat.
Oh, Dandavat, wow, how exciting. This is the first time you're with
Long
us.
time.
Wow,
Yeah.
how wonderful to see you. Wow.
Nice
Is
to see you too.
Ratna nearby you?
She's not nearby, she's still at work.
Oh,
but
okay, okay.
I've just found the link to your group. So I've been following your Zoom meetings on YouTube actually.
Okay,
I was
okay.
wondering how to get online, and then I found a way. Now I'm here.
Cool. So
Yeah.
Ajay Prabhu is actually Hungarian, and
Yeah.
he lives in London.
Yeah, and you've probably spent more time in Hungary than me now, because I haven't been there for well over a year now. It's just so difficult to go.
Kanu Priya, she just came in the door. Kanu Priya, are you there?
Oh yeah, because you're staying with her, aren't you?
Say hello. Yeah, okay. She just came in. Oh, she'll come and
You're
say
staying with Kanupriya.
yeah, I'm
You're
based
staying.
here at Kanu Priya's house. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's just like down the road from where I'm originally from. That's really...
Ajay is here. Come say hello. Yes. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is Kanu Priya. She's our hero in Hungary.
Nice to see you.
Kanu is the person who takes care of all the devotees here, and she calls everybody up and organizes the programs, and she's giving all her money to buy a temple. She's a pretty amazing person.
But it's great that you have finally have something going on there. Love to be part of it too. Let's see, hopefully soon.
I mean, there's always been something going on here. Just it's been kind of up and down.
Yeah,
The last few years, I mean, there used to be a very big group here, actually. The last 2 years, things have been a bit more subdued. There's just, a lot of history.
Yeah.
But anyhow, there is a core group who are very inspired, and I'm trying to help a little bit, and we hope something beautiful can manifest.
Oh, definitely. We hope to see you soon.
Yeah, when all of this crazy COVID madness ends, then it will be very nice to meet.
Yeah.
Well, we still what time are we at? I think we still have a few more minutes. Does anyone have any last comments or questions or anything at all?
Yeah, Vishakha Didi, I have something if you don't mind. So I listen Param Guru Maharaj. I've been listening also. He's so sweet, actually, so loving. He said one thing that Bhaktya Sangha Bhaktya. So how we do that? Because especially in America, so much quarrel. Now things have gotten a little better, but it's just Kali Yuga. There's so much quarrel. I try to kind of control myself, but I got also entangled in that kind of.
Sorry, Prabhu. I didn't catch that quote. What was that quote at the beginning about bhakti?
Bhaktya Sangatya Bhaktya, like a bhakti comes from devotees.
Oh, Bhakti Sanjataya Bhaktya. Yes, I know that. It's in Bhakti Versamrita Sindhu, I think, right? Bhakti comes from Bhakti, right?
From devotees, through association of the Vaishnavas, through devotees.
Yeah. And another way that Gurudev that's one way, that's the general way, right? Devotion comes from devotion. So we get devotion from those who have it. You know? But another way that Gurudev interpreted that is that if we have a little bit of it, it will grow. If we get a small, if we have a small amount of devotion, then it will grow. It will naturally grow. That is its nature. I mean, what can I say, Prabhu? You know, this is the main question of our lives, right? How can we grow that creeper of devotion? How can we nourish that seed that our gurus have given us? There's not one or two, but thousands of things to say on that topic. This is the big question of our
No,
lives.
you are good example. You are very encouraging and inspiring. See, I seen over so many years, so many, all kind of devotees. I was lucky, had some opportunity to serve Gurudev and have some association. But I'm not so intelligent like you are. So I just kind of hang around there. So I'm just, I don't know. Sometimes I think just Gurudev is watching actually. Guruma is watching. So Srila Guruma say also Krishna is a person. You try to develop a relationship with him. We belong to him. We are like Param Guruma makes so easy, so simple. But I wish I could follow more. But it's just yeah, it's anyway. Corona is good. Like he say, everything is good. Whatever happening, it's good. So I see things are actually Krishna is churning things, so they're getting better. Yeah, it's just. I was lucky. Gurudev came our home. I told him, I don't live in India, America. I live under your lotus. So Gurudev smiled. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of so. I also become a little crazy because I'm going through some purification. So, but I try to control myself. Guruma say everything is perfect. You control yourself. Environment is friendly, it's favorable, it's loving. Yesterday I was doing gardening. My neighbor said, "Oh, they're very sweet Filipino people. Oh, nice to see you. You want anything? Very sweet people, very nice. They're little kids, so happy. See, jumping around. It makes me so happy. We used to have so many devotees, but now we don't have nobody. They just. But I'm lucky they are nice people. She is Filipino woman, but I can connect very nice. Say, good to see you. You want anything? Very loving. I feel, oh, thank you. So Gurudev's mercy, Guru Maharaj. Her husband also, I can see they're getting better over, but I haven't told about anything about Krishna consciousness. But I just play like Gurudev say, wait and see, wait and see. I just pray and hoping to kind of hang in there. And yeah, it's things are happening. It's not just here. It's a whole planet is getting purified. Yeah, it's just yesterday I was on Zoom class from Acharya Maharaj. So he was telling how he sent some devotees to talk to Tyagi Maharaj. He's in Vrindavan, Tyagi Maharaj. I wish he was in America. Yeah, I could do something. If I have somebody with me, I could do something. But anyway, I am happy he's here. I wrote him a couple of times. He responded.
I mean, Prabhu, nothing is easy in this world.
Yeah.
If we are going to be successful in anything, we have to face difficulty. So what to speak of the highest thing? We are coming to approach the highest thing. So, we have to be ready to face many things and more. It will not be easy. But, we can console ourselves in different ways. One point is that you're not alone. We are all in the same boat. We are all struggling in different ways in our spiritual life. And we are all in the same boat. So you are not alone.
Thanks for reminding that. Yeah, no, thank you.
You have many friends. maybe they are not always physically with you, but nevertheless you have the goodwill of many, many wonderful devotees, you know, who are all in the same boat with you. So that is one point. And then another point is that, you know, the Lord's grace, Guru's grace, it is always there. You know, it is always there. Even again, we may not be able to physically see that, but it is there in a subtle way, playing in our lives. In different ways, you know. You know, for someone who has embraced this ideal, then there's special attention given to such persons. And we have to believe that and try to see how that is playing in our lives and try to connect with that, try to align ourselves with that as much as possible in a conscious way. We have so many loving guardians, you know, all of our gurus, they are present in a spiritual way. You know, it is they do not require, you know, just like Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave the very simple example, you think of your friends on the other side of the world, you pick up the telephone, you can connect with them, you know. So in the plane of consciousness, you know, everything is very spacious. There's no restrictions of time, place, circumstance, you know. But, you know, we call to them, we pick up that phone, we call to them, we call from our hearts, and we will receive their grace. And we have to see that all the trials that we face, they are ultimately there to help our development. And especially now, I know you're suffering, and I know you have so much love for our Gurudev, and I know you are suffering with the pain of separation, so things will be more difficult. But that is ultimately also there to increase our attachments, to support our growth in different ways. So, you know, what can we do? We have to embrace everything that's coming to us, see that it is there for our benefit, and just keep on going day by day, you know. Sometimes we'll go through very bright periods, and we have to make the most of that, you know, make hay while the sun shines, right? But then there will also be periods which do not feel so bright, which are more difficult, which are more challenging, you know, when the environment may present us with difficulties, and also from within us. And this is more of a difficult thing. We have to face different things within ourselves. You know, those periods of difficulty we face, they encourage more introspection within ourselves. And we're forced to confront different things within ourselves. So, you know, as you said yourself, that is a process of purification. So, you know, we have to embrace all these things and try to see how they are there to help us, and just keep on going day by day, you know. That sometimes that's the best we can do, just continue. You know, and that itself is not a small thing. You know, Srila Sridhar Maharaj has also made that point, you know, that requires some substantial degree of faith to just be able to keep going on day by day, you know, when the sun isn't shining, you know, when things aren't bright, when things are difficult, you know, but to stay on the path and keep going day by day, you know, that shows a high degree of faith. So sometimes that's, you know, but, you know, to hold on to that rope and to keep on going, you know, wake up every day and keep trying, you know, that may be the best that we can do. We have to let go of all of our concocted ideas of who we think we need to be, what we think Krishna consciousness is. Everything we think we know, it is very, very, very little, you know. we have to be ready to let go of everything, you know, not just in a material. I'm not just talking about our material conceptions and material attachments, but our ideas of what Krishna consciousness is, our ideas of what spiritual life is. We have to be ready to let go of that as well. You know, we have to have that kind of flexibility, you know. So, you know, there's definitely going to be difficulty in that and struggle in that process. And we have to accept that, and not just accept it, but we have to embrace it as a necessary part of growth.
Thank you very much for your encouragement. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. No, Gurudev, so
Didi,
Yes, Prabhu.
I always find it helpful too to remember what our goal is. And we could say in one sense, our goal is association with the Lord. And we can see the example of Mukunda Datta. When he committed some offense, and Mahaprabhu said, I will not see him. He cannot have my darshan, my association. And Mukunda was crying, and he said, please ask when I can have his association again. And Mahaprabhu told them, he can have my association after crores and crores of birth. Millions and millions of births, he'll have my association. And what did Mukunda do upon hearing that? He danced with joy. So we have to understand that is the value of the thing that we're searching after. And that is not going to be easy to get.
Jai, very nice.
thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Yeah.
And Gurudev also added to that. I don't know if it's also in Chaitanya Bhagavat, but Gurudev added to that. Then when Mahaprabhu heard that, he said, "Oh, you know, by that type of faith, he's already passed through all of those births, so he can come to me now." But then when Mukunda heard that, he said, "No, I would rather wait because I want the real thing." And I'd rather wait millions of births to get the real thing, to get the highest thing, than to get something, you know, as an imitation. But that's a very nice point. You know, if we can appreciate the value of what it is we are trying for, what the ideal is, then we're ready to face anything. You know, we can go through anything. Just to be, this is another way Srila Sridhar Maharaj has expressed it. You know, we are trying for something so great that just to be on the path of trying for it, we can consider that to be a successful life. You know, attaining the goal, that's another subject matter. But just the fact that, you know, this truth is so high that just to be on the path of striving for it, that is successful. You know, even if we're told you may be a failure, you'll never get it, still to be trying for this is so great, so high. Nothing could be better than that. Okay, well, maybe we'll stop there unless anyone has any last words to say.
Thank you so much, Vishakha Didi. Very kind of you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing your heart. Chinmoy, Prabhu, any last words? Should we stop there?
No, Didi, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, my good fortune. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai all the assembled devotees ki jai. Assembled devotees, sincere seekers ki jai. Jai Chinmoy Dev Prabhu ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Jai Vishakha Devi Dasi ki jai.